Hello, Pisces. My name is Ace. Welcome back to Misfits of the Zodiac. I'm going to be doing a pull for you for the month of September. So I already pulled your cards for you, and I feel like you have a big choice coming up in September, and it feels like you standing in your power is going to help you make that choice. And it feels like the choice, the choice that is going to work for you. If you sit back and you give yourself some space to figure it out, there's only one choice. There's a lot of opportunities around you right now, which is a great problem to have. But sometimes when there's too many options, we get a little bogged down. So stand in your power, listen to your gut. It's going to serve you well, because the choice that you ultimately end up making from that space is going to bring you great things, and you're going to quickly move into wish fulfillment, it looks like. So you started out with the Seven of Cups, which is all about the choices I was talking to you about, right? So in this particular depiction, you see this like little butterfly here, okay? This is over the cup that makes the most sense for you. You already know what's going to be best. There's a lot of, like I said, opportunities around you right now, but there's only one that makes sense for you personally. And I think if you can stand in your power with the Horned God, he's all about being in his own power. He's also taking care of all of these animals around him and making sure they have what they need. So you might be a caretaker, you might be a mother, you might be a father. This is asking for you to step up into that role, but also you receiving empowerment through your decision-making process. So taking time out to sit with it and to figure out what your gut is telling you is going to be key, because it's going to help you feel like you're sitting in your power and you're making a choice for yourself. And the reason that I think that it's going to be a success for you is because you have the Earth Mother, which is the Empress in the normal tarot. She's pregnant. She also has this cornucopia, which is perfect for fall. This is all about fruit, abundance, prosperity, fulfillment. Mostly, though, it's about harvests coming in. So this choice, that if you take time with it to figure it out, it's going to bring you even more abundance, even more opportunity, more joy, more happiness. It's also going to make you feel like you're in your power. Okay? Also, in this particular depiction, make sure I point on the right side, this little raven guy, okay? They're all about communication and giving you signs, okay? I'm lucky enough to have ravens around me, especially for spooky season. It's perfect. But ravens are very, very smart birds. And if you do any research into some of their mythology, they're known as messengers. Okay, I feel like in this particular reading, the messenger is you. It's your gut instinct. You already know what you need to do. You already know how to be in your power, what decisions to be making. So follow that intuition. Follow that communication that's coming from the depths of your soul, because it's going to lead you to the prosperity that we were talking about. Okay, so I just highly recommend just taking some time to figure it out. If you feel like you are having a lot of options, maybe some decision fatigue, take a break, because there is a right answer for you. There is something that makes the most sense for you, that lights you up. Pay attention to that. If you have to, sit down and think, okay, does this make me happy? If I choose this, would it make me happy? Or would it make me as happy as maybe this? And go through the line. In this particular depiction, there's 7 cups. So there might be 7 opportunities coming in. Sit with each one and then maybe make a pro-con list if you have to. I feel like you making this decision is going to help you move on to better things. So this is the Six of Wands, or the Six of Swords. This is all about moving to calmer waters. Okay? So things might be a little rocky until you make that decision, or it might feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But the second you make the decision, you're moving on. You're moving away from that energy. And it feels like once you make that decision, you're going to get communication really fast that it was the right one. And if it wasn't the right one, you're going to get communication that it wasn't the right one. So you can choose the other, hopefully. Okay? If it's such a situation where you can't change your mind, sit with it a little bit longer, you know? But under most circumstances, you should be able to change your mind, you know? Find a way to make it happen. And that will help you move on to calmer waters. But this Eight of Wands is all about communication coming in really fast. Okay? So once you make the decision, you're going to figure out whether or not it's going to work for you. Okay? Fairly quickly. But I feel like you already know you make the right choice because you have wish fulfillment coming in. So this is the Nine of Cups. And there's like a little ladybug on the top of her, my brain, on the top of her crystal ball. I don't know why that was like taking me so long. I'm tired. The ladybug is representation for luck. And the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. This is a wish card. So I feel like if you can take the time to sit with these 7 different cups, you're going to get the Nine of Cups, the wish fulfillment, the thing that you were hoping for, the thing that the butterfly is sitting on top of, the option that's best for you. Okay? So that's definitely positive. And then you have the Scythe. So this in the normal tarot is Temperance. Again, this is asking for you to find the balance, go with the flow. Try not to be too rigid. This particular month seems like it could potentially feel a little complicated, but you might overcomplicate it by not sitting in your own power. Okay, so if you sit in your own power, you give yourself time to make some decisions, it's going to help you find more balance with the Scythe. Okay. And then your last card is the Six of Cups, which is all about nostalgia. And I was curious about what in particular this was talking about. So I pulled some cards to kind of clarify because I feel like it needed that. And I got the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the King of Cups. This is going to be I feel like this last card is kind of separate from the rest of this. I feel like this is for a handful of you. This is not going to resonate with everyone. But I feel like if you are moving to a new job, specifically, this is for people who are moving to a new job, there could be a potential where, I kind of got this for one of the fire signs, where you start to feel a little nostalgic about your old job. And you're going to think of all the things that you had with that old job. Especially when you're doing something new or you're jumping into a new vocation or a new job entirely. You don't know anybody. You're learning everything from scratch, it feels. You already know what you're doing, okay? Because you have the Eight of Pentacles. And that's talking about you being a master of your craft. So lean on that when it starts to feel overwhelming because everything feels new, okay? Try not to get nostalgic because you're going to receive the fruits. You're going to eventually get past that feeling of like unknowingness and cross the finish line, the Four of Wands, okay? And things are going to start to make sense, okay? And when you were seeking that job to begin with, you were looking for something different. So remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that the old job clearly didn't work. And I feel like the opportunity, the King of Cups, is you sitting in your power, but I feel like there is an offer that came in that makes sense, and it just feels a little uneasy because it's brand new, and our brains have a tendency of making things feel really uncomfortable because, especially as adults, we like to feel like we know how to do all the things, right? So when we feel uncomfortable when we don't know all the answers, when we're learning where everything is, when we don't know where all of the tools are and all, because everything is kind of shifted, right? We're in a new space, we're in a new place, we're around new people. It's going to feel overwhelming. So when you start to feel that way, try to sit in your power. Try to remind yourself, you know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a long time. It might be a new environment, it might be new people, but you know what you're doing. You got this. So try not to get in your head too much, because this feels like a really great opportunity and you have a lot of great things coming in. So try to try to, as much as you can, enjoy the newness. Enjoy a breath of fresh air. Okay? Try to look at it like a little kid, like, ooh, get curious about it. Don't get in your head about it. Okay? So I'm going to pull one last card from my oracle to kind of wrap things up for you. I use this a lot for shadow work, and I feel like we're going into the shadow side of the year, the darker half of the year. So I feel like this is pretty relevant. So that's why I chose this deck. You got gratitude or forgiveness. Wow, I think that's the first time I've pulled this card, which is, it's actually the very front of the oracle deck, which is kind of cool. I don't think I've ever pulled this card, like I said. So I'm going to actually, I haven't read these out, and I'm kind of curious because I don't know. Usually I get an intuitive hit, and I kind of did for this, but I feel like I need to read this for you. I feel like we're going to get more from that. So let's see what this has to say. The point of power is always in the present moment. Find it through the garden of gratitude. If you can't get to gratitude, get to forgiveness. There is a time to honor your grief, frustration, resentment, blame, and trauma, but that's not what this moment calls for. If you can't find your way to the garden, then forage your way through the forest of forgiveness. The hardest thing to do is forgive a person who hasn't asked for it, or let go of a situation that continues to harm you, even when you know you're in the right. You can be right or you can be free. This moment invites you to elevate your energy through acceptance, forgiveness, or gratitude. Accept the invitation and watch how your inner reality begins to reshape and redefine your outer reality. That to me talks a lot about this King of Chalices. So this is kind of like an offer coming in, and this might be this new job. It might just be something in general where someone offers you that opportunity that we were talking about, all these different options. Sitting with it and being grateful that you have the options. A lot of people don't right now. So that might help you not get overwhelmed by the amount that's coming in. Just be grateful that you have options. You might be, you could have been stuck with only one option and then you don't have a choice, but you do have a choice in this particular situation. So finding gratitude for that. If you are dealing in a situation where someone needs forgiveness, or you need to give forgiveness so that you can kind of let yourself go and let that be part of the past, that could be what the rest of you, if you're not dealing with a business situation where you're changing jobs, this nostalgia might be you thinking about someone that maybe you had an argument with just recently, or that you had an argument with in the past, and you might, in order to let go of this like nostalgic feeling that might be kind of dragging you down or making you feel kind of sad, or getting you, I don't know, thinking about your past a little too much and not excited about your future, you might need to forgive that person for yourself. I know that that's really hard sometimes, and you have to kind of grieve some things first to be able to do that. And I don't recommend forgiving someone for someone else. It sounds counterintuitive, but when you forgive someone, you're actually doing it for you, because you're freeing up that space for something else. When you don't forgive someone and you hold a grudge, there's a part of you that wants to hold on to it, because it feels like if you forgive them, then you're telling yourself what they did to me was okay. And that's not true. That's not true at all. Both things can be true. You can give forgiveness to someone and also feel like what they did to you was wrong. But by you giving forgiveness, you can let yourself free of that emotion. You can move through the stages of grief so you can let it go. Because when we hold on to it, we're actually doing more damage to ourselves than we are to that person. That person probably might not even think about it anymore. They might have moved on from it. So we're really just keeping ourselves stuck when we don't forgive and forget. You can also forgive and not forget. You can remember that they did something terrible, but don't let what they did to you dictate you being able to let it go, okay, and be free from it. So again, that might only resonate with a small amount of you, but I feel like if none of that made sense, just trying to find some gratitude this month. There's a lot of beautiful things happening in the month of October, I'm already ready for October, can you tell? There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening in the fall seasons, like the foliage and just the cooler weather. We're not going to be dealing with the swelter. So taking a moment to find some gratitude, that might help you get into this Empress energy and feel all of the prosperity that's coming to you. I hope that makes sense. So I hope that you enjoyed this reading. If it resonated with you or you enjoyed it, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Maybe get a like from you or a subscribe. And if you made it all the way to the end, you're a real one. I would love to hear from you and see if it resonated. And if not, I will see you next month for your spooky reading next month. I'm so excited. October. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.